I might be having an issue with my streaming. Okay. Now we're reconnected and we're back in. Okay. I did not say anything. I saw it come up and freeze. So I'm going to dive back in now that we're back. If you have kids at Camp Akoy, I do have good news. It looks like the storm's weakening, kind of building a gap um, for that area of Camp Akoy, and they likely dodged a lot of the heavy winds as well. So good news for Camp Akoy and the kids out there. I know this is peak summer camp time. For the specific area of Akoy, Tennessee, and Akoy Lake, uh, this storm is kind of split more towards your area, and it's going to head in the direction of Partsville and Benton Springs. And the lower section of the split is going to continue towards Cohutta Wilderness. And once it gets to like the Cohutta Wilderness area, that is outside of the area I typically cover, but I will kind of keep an eye on it while I'm looking at that area. Further south, back to this tornado warning heading towards East Georgia. I'm going to flip the screen back. Still not seeing any indication of strong organized rotation. Let's go and look at the correlation coefficient again. Still seeing some interesting non-correlation around Dawnville. Like I say, the correlation coefficient, what it actually does is it takes the radar beam and it can, it looks at a lot of different things, but it looks at how similar is everything that it's going through. If it's very similar, then that means it's probably all water. If it's just kind of similar, that means that it can be going through things like hail or, dust, other stuff like that. If it's very unsimilar, it could be more like dirt. So you can start like, awesome. As I was talking about that correlation picked back up around Dawnville, and then we've also got a little bit of non-correlation out here around Cohutta Springs. So we're going to keep watching those storms. Could just be some junk in the atmosphere. Could be some interference between the terrain. That is another thing to consider. Terrain interference can cause non-correlations as well. I know how people continue to take a look at all of this. All these different areas, some people are just joining in. So to go back through, and I did see the notice asking about Cohutta Wilderness area, about the camp. I will touch on that in just a second. But just to say right now, I don't see anything immensely dangerous, just a stronger storm heading in their direction. Matter of fact, the severe thunderstorm warning for them is only peaking at 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so that's just barely a severe thunderstorm. They are going to get some good heavy rain, though. Okay. To touch back towards the different areas and to give a general conditions update. If you are not in Bradley County or Polk County, Tennessee, or I'll go ahead and add the south end of McMinn County, Tennessee, you do not have any more storm threats for the evening. We are done with storms in those areas. So Hamilton, Ray, Meigs, Bledsoe, Sequatchie, Marion, all the areas. If you aren't in Bradley, County, or McMinn County, that I know, you are done with severe thunderstorms. In Georgia, really, if you are west of Dalton, I'm continuing to watch some storms down, past Lafayette, Resaca. If you're east of Dalton, I'm watching those storms as well. If you are north, so like Tunnel Hill, Ringgold, Fort Oglethorpe, Chickamauga, those storms are not heading in your direction. I'll say Tunnel Hill may get a skim of the top of the storm around Lafayette, but that section is not going to be severe. If you are in Alabama, in the areas that I cover, I am mainly seeing one storm. It is a nice little lonely storm by itself heading towards Cedar Bluff. It's got the mass of the storm, the body of it has got a little bit of rotating characteristics to it. However, I'm not seeing tightened rotation indicating that there's a risk of a tornado. I will continue to watch that. We're going to look at the general velocities now and check some winds, and we're mainly seeing winds around 30 miles per hour in that storm heading towards Cedar Bluff, currently around Leesburg 2. We are still seeing gusty winds, and this leading edge and behind it, making its way out of Bradley County in Polk County with gusts pushing close to 70 miles per hour, radar indicated. And down here around Cohutta Wilderness, we're seeing lighter winds with a couple of stronger pockets of winds around 70. And with the latest scan, those just kind of popped off. So they can kind of bounce back and forth. They are very small pockets of winds. Here, let's get rid of that. There we go. So let's zoom in. Cohutta Wilderness, that storm's approaching now. I do not consider it a very dangerous storm at all. It is a good thunderstorm. There are some stronger gusts with it. I would assume that if you have kids at camp around Cohutta Wilderness, they're most likely going to be inside of the building. It could be a little uncomfortable in a tent, but I know that most summer camps these days have cabins and or like more like yurts or structured tents, and those definitely would be fine with these storms. I believe that those areas are safe for those kids. Chatsworth, Georgia, no. Well, so there's a tornado warning over the area of Chatsworth, Georgia. Yes, there's still currently a tornado warning over that area. This tornado warning has been just sitting here for a long time now. The tornado warning continues to say that there is a radar indicated chance of a tornado forming with this storm. There has not been a tornado sighted on the ground. I'm not seeing any indication. I have seen some areas that were worth watching, but I haven't seen any like active indication of a tornado on the ground. I've seen a couple of little places where it's like, that looks interesting. Let's keep an eye on it. And I know that this tornado warning says that there's potential. I'm not seeing a lot of potential. So for Chatsworth, Georgia, this section in this tornado warning area, Cohutta Wildlife Management Area, not Cohutta Wilderness. You know, we're keeping an eye out for these storms to see if anything does develop. But right now, I do not have concern other than just some gusty winds coming off the front of the storm. Kind of approaching Grassy Mountain, Bald Mountain, down to Turkey Mountain. A lot of these more rural areas that I wish I lived in. I'm going to go back and check my phone. I've had a lot of activity on the phone this evening. I've been trying to keep track. As I feel stuff coming in, I'm checking my watch. through. Going through, checking everything and everybody, making sure, uh, I keep, like, were, my parents, for instance, were giving me indications of where they were and where they were going to be safe. Um, Stuff like that. So if you see me ever check my phone, I'm also looking for people. Sometimes people who I know personally will send me status updates of their area to let me know, hey, there's this, hey, there's that, or hey, I see this. Um, Sirens going off in Eden. Yeah, as these storms approach and as they're around, there is an active tornado warning, so they are going to sound those sirens. But I'm continuing to not really see anything active on the ground. The warning does not state that one has been spotted, sighted, or that there has been damage from it. Let's take a look at some of these power outages. I'm surprised there's not more power outages in Hamilton County. They may just not have reported them yet. We have around 1,100 people without power in Whitfield County, Georgia. 1,800, pushing 1,900 people in Walker County, Georgia. Around 700 in Dade. 1,800 in Jackson County, Alabama. And up in Whitwell, around 830. Those probably just haven't been updated in a bit because those are pretty similar to before. Down here, the storm approaching Cedar Bluff. Not seeing anything too terribly promising. I'm seeing some gusty winds on the backside, but they're kind of around center. When you see areas like this green and red, yes, you have winds going in different directions. No, it does not look like structured rotation. And that has a lot to do with things. Down around Tryon, Pinville, it's stormy. I'm not seeing structured rotation. I'm just seeing, winds moving. Winds move for a lot of different reasons in a lot of different ways. As rain falls and air's cooled and things happen, winds move out. You have inflow into the storms, winds move in. You have downdraft as some of the storms die, so winds move in all directions. It's a lot of different things. Still getting some notifications that wind or music keeps playing back and forth. Something I'm going to investigate at a later time and figure out. I'm thinking maybe there has something to do with people posting stars. I don't know what stars are. That's not something I've ever worried about. I don't know if I can turn off the sound that happens when people give me stars. I don't know anything about them. I apologize if it's taken away from your ability to hear me today, give the information. And I'm trying to continue to go back over things very repetitively. Okay. We have now gotten rid of the tornado warning in Georgia. I've been waiting for this forever. Never really saw anything indicated, and it's now gone. For all areas, we are now clear of any tornado warning. All we're keeping an eye on are severe thunderstorm warnings. And the incredibly strong winds we were seeing earlier have subsided. We are now only looking at severe thunderstorm winds around 60 miles per hour, which is like bottom of the bucket. We're seeing this storm system relax a lot. For those of you who have maybe just joined in recently, I'm not seeing, these storms behind us really cause much of an issue later tonight. These main storms up front, I've kind of sucked all the energy out of the atmosphere. I'm going to keep an eye on them just to make sure. kind of a good opportunity to go take a look at. Here, let me unsplit the screen first because that can mess it up. Take a look at conditions later tonight. Yeah, it's see, things are kind of strong as they start to approach. You see some bright reds, and then you just see it all flatten out into some yellows. May have a storm build up down around Somerville and Dalton, like past Dalton, on the outskirts. I'll keep an eye on it as always. But I'm not really seeing any threat. The interesting thing is, timing has been tough this year. It's been back and forth. HRRR model, which used to be great about timing, has gotten terrible. So I don't use that for timing currently, but it still gives a great and better indication for conditions, better than the NAM 3 kilometer model. So I'm going to get back away from just the general models, back to the radar, take a look at these storms. I'm going to leave this up. And take a breath, because we have gotten past all the very severely damaging potential conditions. We had that storm build up. I started seeing it build up in Alabama. I'd mentioned a little earlier that sometimes those storms start to ride the Tennessee Georgia line, and we started to see that. It did. It's like it built up. Is almost, and I wonder if they're going to end up calling it a derecho. So a derecho is kind of like a very large segment that moves very fast. Honestly, I don't think the storm itself was moving fast enough. I think the winds were just strong, so they probably won't classify it as that. But that's really kind of semantics and getting into naming. And that doesn't mean much to people when it comes to, oh, am I safe? That's why I'm out here trying to give good information, straight up information, and let everybody know what's going on, not what the words are. Thoughts on storms later. Diane, I just went through that. We do have some storms behind us. I don't see them really building up. We may get a rumble of thunder. I will say sometimes I'll say I don't see much, and we're going to be clear for later. And when I say that, a lot of times I need to be better about this. I need to be better about saying we're clear for later for severe threats, or say we're clear for later altogether. We should be clear for later tonight of severe threats. We may still get a rumble of thunder here and there. We may still see, a little bit of lightning. Well, that's thunder. We may still see some heavy rain. But I'm not seeing strong damaging winds coming in tonight. I'm not seeing things really build up where I'm going to have to sit here and cover and go live. Just to kind of update again, we're starting to push outside of my coverage area for the worst part of these storms. I'm probably going to end the live fairly soon because we have weakening on these storms up here in Polk County as well, and they're just generally 60 mile per hour storms, winds, and I have to continue doing some work around the house. I've got something coming up the next couple of days, so I was working on preparing for that. Plus, I'm realizing now that I haven't eaten dinner, and I haven't eaten in probably about 14, 15 hours. So, should probably get some food. I will say losing a power while I was in the middle of a stream, this is the first time that's happened. And hopefully I handled that well. give me some feedback. Leave in the comments and stuff. Let me know, what you thought about my response to losing power. Maybe I need to look into the next time you start donating money, uh, looking at a battery backup system. Of course, that won't help me a lot. That will keep my computer running. I could hook into my phone and run off of that for the internet. I'll have to do some testing and see if the internet speed off of my phone is enough to put up just a basic stream. Um, there have been periods in the past where there have been a lot of storms and people have donated money. I want you to know that I put that money back into this. I don't take it and go out and buy fancy stuff or anything like that. Um, so the computer that I do this off of, a lot of the computer and everything was paid for by donations from everybody. And it's not something I asked for. It's something that all of you decided that you wanted to do, start, donating money. So I took it and turned it around and did whatever I could to make things better for y'all. That's the way I work. I've been involved with volunteer emergency services for 23 going on 24 years now. That's just the way that I do things. It's the way I was raised. Well, with this most recent scan, I still don't see things strengthening, don't see a path of anything damaging. I'm going to continue to monitor the severe thunderstorm warnings down here in Georgia. I expect the severe thunderstorm warnings up in Tennessee to expire probably early. The strongest part of the storm isn't even within the area of the severe thunderstorm warning. Uh, but right now, hazards are minimal. If you are, you know, from Dalton, Chatsworth down towards Resaca and Ranger, Georgia, just use some caution and know that some gusty, light, severe thunderstorm winds are going to come through around 60 miles per hour. And as always, I'll be back on here if you need me back on here. I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Hope everybody has a wonderful week. This was kind of a chaotic start to the week, but maybe this was, we got it out of our system quick, and now it's going to be a good, great rest of the week. All right. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and we'll talk to you soon.